Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We just recently got some brand new leaks and rumors on some pretty substantial updates coming to Call of Duty in the future to completely revamp and redo a mode that, quite frankly, I don't think got enough time in the spotlight, and that is Call of Duty's only extraction mode, DMZ. It was short-lived during the Modern Warfare 2022 year. It was first introduced at the time. It was the most developed mode that we had in COD, 4+ years of dev time leading up to the launch of the beta version of DMZ. And of course, it only ended up lasting for the year of Modern Warfare 2022. Now, yes, you can still go back and play it and check it out now. The player base definitely smaller than it was back during that initial year, but obviously it's not seeing new updates, new changes, new content in any capacity. It just exists to play, and that's it. Well, it seems we are going to see some major changes to DMZ in the future to separate it some from multiplayer in Warzone, make it its own unique thing, and enhance it in several different ways, it seems. So we have this new report from CrashT over on Twitter. I'll leave a link to their account in the description below if you want to go and check this out for yourself. And they recently posted, by the way, known leaker, data miner in the community that we've talked about here on the channel. They've posted several new talking points about what could be changing with DMZ down the road. Now, keep in mind, at the end of the day, these are leaks, these are rumors. Nothing here is 100% officially confirmed and likely won't be for quite some time. We're talking DMZ's potential return looking to be like COD 2026 with Infinity Ward's next title. So ways out, but still a lot of pretty drastic changes here. So first up, a newly enhanced AI will be introduced. So upgraded AI makes sense. Obviously, DMZ being only a beta experience when it first dropped, the AI was something y'all remember. I know the aimbot AI that was in Warzone 2 and DMZ when the game first dropped, absolutely crazy. It evolved a bit over the year, but still not anything that crazy. But newly enhanced AI will be introduced, and players will see either a search icon or a detainment icon for the mode itself. Now, depending on the map, 12 to 16 teams will be formed, each consisting of 3 players. So still a pretty heavy presence of players on the map, while there are also these simultaneously enhanced AI bots running around as well. So 12 to 16 teams, depending on the map, could be a smaller one. Keep in mind, this does indicate that there's gonna be multiple maps. We'll talk about that in just a moment, of course, but could be a smaller map with only 12 teams, could be a slightly larger one with 16 teams there, but still kind of staying similar to DMZ. Obviously, there was a fair bit of real players in the lobbies there, but expanding depending on the map there. Special maps for DMZ 2026 will be prepared with substantial content added every 2 seasons. Updates will be delivered continuously during both the main season and the mid-season. So this is particularly interesting. DMZ saw a lot of updates throughout the MW 2022 year, but they were kind of hit or miss. And especially as you got into season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6, the updates were very much so rinse and repeat. Okay, there's a new faction here. You'll have some new quests, but they're not going to be that different from some of the stuff you were already doing, or we have a slightly different map to play DMZ on now, but the overall goal is still the same. And the risk and reward value in DMZ was always kind of a hot topic and a controversial thing. Is there too much value to just going in with your custom guns? Is there any risk to do anything in game besides go for these quests? Like is there anything out of the match that is worth really paying attention to? So it definitely needed updates, needed enhancements to really, I think, compete with the other main extraction shooters on the market, and it just didn't have the time to evolve since they only supported it for 1 year, right? But having special maps developed for it would also indicate that these are things we won't see for Warzone or for multiplayer. Maybe they take place in the same universe or the same general greater play space, like what we have with Avalon and certain maps in Black Ops 6, or what we had with Al Mazrah and various things going on there. But specific maps for DMZ and substantial content every 2 seasons. So in theory, we know we have 6 seasons pretty much every single Call of Duty year. That would mean at launch, it's getting these major changes, these major updates. Then season 2, substantial updates. Season 4, substantial updates. Season 6, substantial updates. So 3 large scale updates throughout the year, and then smaller updates, delivered with each new season and mid-season update. Maybe that's content, weapons, new bosses, new missions, items to go and look out for things of that nature. And by the way, as we are going through all these details here, while yes, obviously this is still a ways out, I imagine in the coming months we're going to continue to learn even more about some of these major changes. So if you want to guarantee that on a daily basis you're always in the know for everything going on in COD, whether it's DMZ, Warzone, multiplayer, anything like that, it's all right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. And if you enjoy this video, you're excited for some major updates to DMZ, a like rating is always seriously appreciated as well. Now Crash D goes on to say it is expected that there will be 4 maps plus a new headquarters or a shooting range. So 4 original special maps made for DMZ, so plenty of different play spaces. I imagine that also varies in size quite a bit from map to map, so you have the option of, oh, the smallest map with 12 teams or the largest map with 16, maybe 2 others that are in between there, then however many bots they deem accessible or necessary for that map, right? And then having an out-of-game headquarters or a shooting range, I think is something that is potentially huge for DMZ, because as I alluded to earlier, a lot of the risk and reward value was in-game for DMZ when you were actually in a match, getting from point A to point B, finding the certain object or the certain piece of equipment or whatever the case is, right? Out of game though, there's no real market, there's nothing to do when you're sitting on the menu or in a HQ, and other extractions really do that well. Having player markets, having, you know, the black market or whatever the case is, being able to buy and sell things for currency that you can then use to buy and sell other things and do all sorts of stuff there, adds more value to what you're doing in game, gives you more maybe objectives there, and then brings some of that value out of a match and puts it just on the general title as well. I think that's huge, and DMZ was kind of lacking that. So having that sort of HQ play space where you could explore that and then also do things in that that aren't necessarily tied to true DMZ gameplay, I think would be awesome. They also say object interactions are going to be very different from those in current Call of Duty. DMZ will be a completely separate mode unrelated to Warzone or multiplayer. This is a very big thing too, because obviously one of the huge drawbacks, quite frankly, one of the huge disasters that happened within Warzone 2 was them having multiplayer as its own mode. All right, that's fine, that's whatever. But then you have DMZ, what is described as its own mode, except DMZ also heavily interacts with Battle Royale and with Warzone. And they basically made Warzone a hybrid of DMZ and Battle Royale, but they didn't need to because DMZ already existed. They crossed over a lot of the features and a lot of the mechanics for no real reason, whether it was AI or some of the gameplay mechanics there that made Warzone 2 not really feel like Warzone gameplay or Battle Royale gameplay. So having DMZ be its own focus, its own separate thing, absolutely huge there. That could be a massive benefit to all modes, just because then you don't have these weird connections happening between DMZ and Warzone or DMZ and multiplayer. It's just all their own 3 separate experiences. You know what you're getting when you dive into each of those. They also say there will be events during matches that are crucial for your survival. So this could be, hey, you've got to get inside because something's happening overhead, or, you know, you have to go to this location on the map because parts of it are going to be attacked or whatever the case is there. That could be really cool. And again, adds in sort of its own risk and reward into the match that's now separate from loot and quests and everything, but then also makes each match potentially its own individual unique experience, which is also, I feel like, something that maybe was lacking from DMZ before, just with how one-dimensional some of the quests were and some of the gameplay directions were back then. And then lastly here, there will be 2 different types of modes you can play, PvE and then also PvPvE. So if you just want to go straight up against bots, you don't have to worry about those 12 to 16 or I guess 11 to 15 other teams in a game, including yours obviously, then you can just straight up run into just against bots. You don't have to worry about cheaters. Then you can just simply play for the storyline, for your loot, for everything you want to focus on there, your missions individually, and just focus on fighting bots, fighting this enhanced AI. But if you want that excitement, you want that thrill of potentially running into real players and bots at the same time, then you can play the PvPvE. I think the accessibility there and the option for both could definitely help, because obviously you get to a certain point and it's like, man, everyone playing DMZ right now is really good and I cannot get this quest done when there's good players camping this area. I want to go and just do it against bots and get it done that way. I don't have to worry about it. Having that option there, I think, opens up the accessibility and lowers the entry barrier a bit for a mode like this. So some really, really interesting gameplay changes and drastic updates potentially happening for DMZ here. Like I said, though, obviously a ways out. These things can be altered, scrapped, updated in many different ways. We're gonna have to see as time goes on what else surfaces, but you guys know every single day I got you covered with all things you need to know for Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to guarantee you're up to date. And if you enjoyed this video, a like rating on your way out would be really appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.